Hello and welcome back to everything you need to know about Ashes of Creation. Today we're going to be going over the Navy in Ashes of Creation, naval content, the different kind of ships you can have, everything you can do at sea or near the sea. I think it's quite exciting, so let's get straight into it. So first of all, there's going to be different classes when you're talking about the things you can do at sea. These are referred to as boatsmanship classes. And you've got gunnery, which will be when you're on a ship and you're firing cannons. Piloting, which is the actual movement of the ship itself. Navigation, which helps you figure out where the ship needs to go and will be key in helping out with the piloting. Boat repair, which will enable you to help the boat out potentially during battle and 100% after battle. Ship components, which we'll get into later, but is mostly about building the ship. Defensive skills, which will be about protecting the ship from things like harpoons and cannon fire. And finally, utility-based skills, which is most likely everything else that goes on in the ship, like the raising and lowering of the anchor, the raising and lowering of the sails, and things like that. Now, the ships themselves will be divided into three separate classes. We'll have small ships, which will be for solo content and can be crewed by 1 to 3 people. Medium ships, which are group content and can be crewed by about 8 people. And large ships that are raid content and can have about 40 people on them. So you're only going to be using large ships potentially if there's a siege going on, and definitely if there is a raid boss in the ocean, such as a kraken or something else. Now, certain ship classes we've been told will have the ability to render crowd control. Like I mentioned earlier, you can harpoon other ships and bring them towards you. And this may be at the lower levels that you just make them stay in place, and it may be at the higher levels that you can actually bring them towards you. And remember, harpoons are essentially just ropes, so it's going to be entirely possible for the crew on the other ship to cut the harpoons loose if you do not act fast after shooting them. With regards to summoning ships, they can only be summoned from a port or harbour. Now, these ports or harbours are on rivers. You can summon your ship from a river if it is deep enough. Otherwise, you'll have to summon it when you're at the sea. As I've said in a previous video where I talk about caravans, but this is separate from ships. It is simply when a caravan goes from land to water. So you don't need to summon your caravan in a body of water. You can just drive it from the land onto the water. Let's move on to the ship building, the crafting profession that enables you to construct ship components based on blueprints that unlock capabilities that scale with their progression in the shipbuilding profession. Now, these different capabilities include movement, durability, speed, turn rate, hit points, defensive and damage abilities. So as you level up your shipbuilding skills, you're going to want to decide, do you want to create big, tanky, powerful ships, or nippy, agile ships that can run rings around the other ships that they're fighting with? As well as this, you'll also be able to add extra weapon slots, aesthetic customization, and of course all of these components can be sold to other players as well as building ships for yourself. So you're likely to have a few master shipbuilders in Ashes of Creation which are building all of the best ships on that server. So you don't actually have to be a shipbuilder to construct ships either. You can go buy the different components from a shipbuilder and construct your own ship from that. Bear in mind that these ships can only be crafted or upgraded in harbours where there will be crafting stations, and these will be unlocked and advanced as the coastal nodes progress. Now, we don't know a lot about this next point, but we do know that you can hijack ships. So if there is a small ship and you have a medium ship, you can actually go and attack that ship and not necessarily destroy it. You can go hijack it, potentially even steal it for yourself. Whereas on a naval caravan, just like with a caravan on land, your only option is to completely destroy it, even if it's at sea, and then take the loot that is available afterwards. So where will these harbours spawn in where you can do all of your naval content from? So we know there's going to be nodes along the coast and islands, and these nodes are going to have specific water orientated influences, abilities, services and quest lines that relate to the ocean. However, harbours do not have to spawn at a node that is directly next to the coast. If you have a node that is near to the coast or near to a large river, you could have a harbour spawning next to that node. So there's going to be naval content for nodes other than the ones directly on the shoreline of Vera. Now, these harbours are going to be a hub of the naval content, as I've discussed before, but not just from summoning your ships and building and upgrading. There's also going to be unique naval and sea related quests that happen at harbours. Every fucking video there's a word I get wrong. Anyway, Harbours will grant these quests that are related to naval content, and they're more likely to influence the likelihood of a naval ocean boss spawning, like a kraken or some other monolithic naval boss, like maybe a megalodon or something like that. Finally, we know that there will be fishing boats in Ashes of Creations. There won't be tidal patterns, but the oceans will not be static. They will change with the seasons. So at winter, the edges of the oceans might become icy and you can't travel through that. Just like with rivers, rivers will almost certainly ice over. And in summer, they may get bigger as flooding occurs. Anyway, I know this was quite a short video. I'm sorry about that. I'm absolutely shattered because I've got the worst toothache you can imagine. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Have an amazing day, and thank you.